Today we're talking about pitching mechanics. From the hundreds of pitches that we've worked with, the most common killer of pitching velocity is inefficient pitching mechanics. And so today my co-founder and I are going to break down 3 pitchers who have very common mechanical flaws that honestly, you probably have too. We're going to break down exactly what's going wrong, how to fix it, and the drills and cues to be able to clean that up. By the way, I'm Josh Gessner. I trained myself to throw 98 miles an hour and play 7 years of professional baseball. And this is Albertus Barber, who trained himself to throw 99 miles an hour and also played professionally. All right, let's get straight into athlete number 1. All right, so this is Cameron. He sent us some video and he said that he was stuck in the low 80s, topping 82 miles an hour. And we were able to see immediately what was going wrong. So Albertus, if you were to help Cameron throw 90 miles an hour by fixing his pitching mechanics, what would you fix?
Yo, what's up, Cameron? So obviously you're lower 80s and you move pretty quick. And you might be looking at yourself and thinking, why don't I throw way harder when I just move faster than everybody around me in so many regards? And that's because pitching is not a move as fast as you can movement. It's move as fast as you can properly up the chain type movement. And a lot of the things that you struggle with come from a misunderstanding of your torso and how to use it properly, but also a really bad lower half when it comes to all of your impulses. So one of the things that you'll notice is when you throw, you have a great block, but you have a really bad ability to rotate your pelvis and your back leg. And so what will happen is your back leg will go into early extension and everything will go into early extension because of a lack of your foot rotating when we need to rotate the whole back leg on time, right? We call this a dead back leg. And the reason that is because if we only rotate 2 parts of this extremity and this doesn't go, look at the difference in how my pelvis can fire, right? You see how it's getting locked up here, but the second I rotate that foot, it starts to finally clear. And so one of the things that this causes for you is an upwards rotation of the pelvis, which is especially bad on the mound because you're having to push and extend out of the pelvis rather than being able to rotate it downwards. And this is really bad for you because of your ability to use your block. And your lead leg will start blocking before you even land, which is pretty incredible considering how the rest of your lower half works right now. And another thing is because you extend upwards, because you rotate upwards, you are peaking your pelvis velocities in midair. And this is causing your torso to go early because, I mean, realistically, almost nobody on planet Earth has the ability to rotate that early and keep this back. And if they do, they probably need to be tightened up a little bit because that's an absurd amount of range of motion. So for you, we need to teach you how to rotate downwards, have a more efficient back leg and pelvis impulse, and then realize that you need to be loose with your upper body. Because one of the reasons why you have the early upper body right now is definitely because of the upwards pelvis rotation and pulling your spine, but it's also because it looks like you're trying to throw hard with the wrong parts of you. And when it comes to loading into your spine and utilizing your spine and arm properly, you're trying to be as loose as you can. And then when it comes time to utilize them, that's when you go. And you can really tell yourself getting all tense and wanting to move as fast as you can early. And that removes range of motion that you could be utilizing if you were more loose. Because every time we get tense, the spine gets tense. The muscles around the spine get tense. And this is going to cause us to go early because when we're throwing, we're trying to have like a relaxed stretch and then fire of everything. So if we're already locked up when it's going and trying to stretch, we're just going to be super early when it comes to how your spine and how your arm go, because it's a very unique feeling. And you can ask guys who throw really hard. It feels like sometimes you're almost a mile away from your lower half. And there were times when I was pitching where I couldn't even see the target because I'd be so counter rotated and on time that I just couldn't even see it until I went to go throw. And that was when I was the best. That was when I was the most loose and everything worked the best. So for you, you need to start doing drills that force you backwards and help you also relearn that impulse of firing that back foot and not letting it cause a dead back leg. So one of the cues that you could use is just rotate onto your back shoelaces, right? And so if we take that cue and we pair it with something like jump backs or rotational step backs, right? That force you to keep your center of mass under you controlled and help you be in a better position from the get-go, then you're not going to run into the issues as much naturally. And so these constraints will help you start to establish that feel from a different perspective. And then you can start to translate those into your regular throws, into your mound throws. So jump backs would be great. KBO kicks would be great. Darvish drills would be great. Regular step backs would be all right for you, but we really need to highlight this. So jump backs and rotational step backs would be better. And then another thing that you could do to feel the efficient ranges that you can work through is to throw up the mound. So find a mound, grab your pliers and your med ball, and then I want you to throw up it. And the reason this is because when we throw down a mound, we have a lot more range of motion that we can use or mess up our movement patterns in. And a lot of people mess up their movement patterns in it. And if you utilize it as perfect as you can, you'll throw significantly harder, but not everybody does that, and especially not you. So when we remove that deficit and put you up the mound, then you're not going to have as much room to stride in. You're not going to have as much room to mess up in. And so this will help you feel the efficient pelvis, getting that foot turned over, getting this all fired, and not allow you to run into as many issues because you don't have basically a bigger playing field to do those things on. Do all those things and you'll definitely throw considerably harder. Maybe just consider giving us a call and we can help you navigate that 10 times faster. But thanks for submitting your video. Let's go.
Second athlete is Grant, and he sent us some video and said that he was stuck in the low 80s, topping 84 miles an hour. But what we saw was that he had a bunch of potential if he was able to clean up these mechanical inefficiencies. So Albertus, what are these inefficiencies and how would you go about fixing them?
Yo, what's up, Grant? So let's go ahead and talk about your mechanics a little bit. One thing that I want you to note is that you're always going to look way different than everybody else around you when it comes to your mechanics because you're just a very unique mover, but you have been gifted a really good engine. So your athleticism is here, but your throwing ability is way down here. One of those reasons being is a little bit of mobility and neuromuscular work to open up these certain ranges and help you throw how your body wants to throw. If you want us to go in depth on that, go ahead and schedule a call and start training with us, but we're just going to break down the mechanical aspects of it for now. So the biggest hindrance that you have, the lowest hanging fruit is your arm, right? You get into a ridiculous inverted W, and because of how short your stride is and how quick you move when it's time to go, this being super long and getting stuck and jammed up while everything else goes is way more problematic for you than the average person, right? The average person strides about 100% of their body length, give or take, right? 90 to 110%. You're at about like 80, 85%, and you're also cross body. And so that means your foot's going to get down a little bit sooner than other guys. And because of that, this has even more time that it needs to catch up and get on time, and it just never gets on time. So all of the stress from your throw ends up going here and here, which obviously isn't good for recovery and long-term velo because you're always going to be more fatigued in your arm than a lot of people around you. It's going to be pretty bad when it comes to throwing consistent pitches, timing up your supination and pronation, because it's always going to vary a little bit. And so it's going to affect your command as well. Obviously, the big thing you're here for is velocity, but you got to realize that velocity is a byproduct of correct movement patterns, health, and then proper workload to all these things. So if all those things are being messed up, velocity gain for you is going to feel almost impossible. So the first thing that I want you to do is I'd want you to start doing some more constrained throw drills where you're doing stuff like a dead swing, maybe you're doing a pocket throw and focusing on not letting this forearm get super low. Because if we think about loading our arm, right, the more that we keep this and this neutral, the more we can get into the areas of our back and spine that we need to utilize to throw, flip up, and get everything going. But the more your shoulder rolls forward and this points like this, right? It's basically this straight downwards forearm. Then you're getting out of all of those areas we need to be in, and you're getting into these areas. And we're not trying to load into our trap. We're not trying to load into our C-spine, right? Or our head. We're trying to load into our back muscles, scap, and our spine. And so it's very counterproductive the way that you're loading your arm. So
Real quick, if you're watching this and you want us to break down mechanics just like this, then send me the word YouTube on Instagram. The link is down below and we'll be able to do that for you.
Constrained drills such as pocket throws, dead swings, figure eights, self-toss drills will be really good for you to prevent you from getting that downwards forearm angle, because you're going to toss the ball and have to grab it out in front of yourself and load. And then also pendulum variations will also be good, because then you can't just get here as easy. You'd really have to go down there. So these are just some drills that'll naturally help you clean all of that up, get your arm good, and then pair that with the other mobility and lifting stuff that we would give you to help you fully step into your body as a man and utilize it properly. You'd have crazy results, you know. Just this problem alone is an easy 3 to 5 miles per hour once you clean it up, but it's also better pitches. It's also easier strikes. And so it's not just a one aspect thing, you know. This changes your strikes, command, recovery, everything. It changes everything, right? We'll just say that. So this isn't just a one aspect thing. This covers the whole spectrum. And this is one of the big issues that guys with these bad arm loads run into, is they just can't ever recover properly. They can't throw strikes very well, and they have a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to their pitch movement. As far as your lower half goes, it definitely needs some work as well. Ideally, we'd like to open up external hip rotation for you a tiny bit, but we'd also want to work on shifting your pelvis posture a little bit, helping you keep that underneath yourself a little bit longer, especially with how you move. And then pair that with proper arm action, you'd be in a significantly different boat. Just realize that you're always going to look weird, but you also have the potential to throw considerably harder. You have a great block. You have a really good ability to turn everything on immediately when you need to, which means that you're a really good athlete when it comes to motor recruitment. And you also throw very rotationally. So because of that, you're going to be able to achieve velocity a little bit easier, right? One of the issues that you do run into is sometimes you'll get a little bit uphill when it comes to your throwing. But this is more than likely just because you're throwing your arm so far down and behind you that it's just forcing you to counterbalance yourself, right? Like if we're walking on a tightrope and I put this here, I'm obviously going to have bias to start to go towards this side. So it's the same concept. Obviously, that's a simplified version, but you clean that up, a lot of other things will clean up too.
Last athlete is Gavin, and he is stuck in the mid 80s, but there's a really simple fix that he can make to start throwing harder immediately. So Albertus, can you break down exactly what that is and how you would go about implementing this into his pitching delivery?
What's up, Gavin? So obviously you're not where you want to be when it comes to your velocity, and that's for a couple of huge reasons. It's not just these little things that people could possibly miss if they knew what was going on. These are some big problems. One of the first problems that you run into, and this is your biggest issue, is that nothing in your lower half fires how you specifically need it to achieve the result that you want. And what I mean by that is when we have a really clean lower half, for somebody like you especially who has these incredible spinal abilities that are just basically being left untapped, you go to fire your lower half, and a good lower half, it's back leg, pelvis, front leg, right? And then it just pulls everything instantaneously. Right now, what happens for you, and you can tell by when you start striding and drifting and getting out there, by how your back leg just slowly loses its angle and collapses the angle that it loads with, is you're sequencing in reverse. So your lead leg is what's initiating your entire pelvis's rotation. And so it looks like you're firing it how you would need to fire it, but you're not at all. Because your front leg pulls your pelvis and back leg open, you don't ever get to utilize your block how you should. Your pelvis can't rotate through part 2 of pelvic rotation cleanly. And this causes this to just hinder your energy rather than contribute to it, which would give you a considerably higher velocity than where you are now. This isn't a small thing. This is something that you fix with players and they gain 4, 5, 6 miles per hour in a month. It's so massive. And for somebody like you who has this incredible spine, who can utilize it really well, it's perfectly loose, but it's not so loose that it puts you into a deficit. Not transferring as much energy as you possibly could into your spine is doing yourself a huge disservice for the body that you've been given. And so one thing that I would start to have you learn and feel out is how to store tension in the back half and then actively hold that tension and rotate it, right? And if you look at how I'm rotating, one thing you'll notice is I get on top of my foot. I'm not pushing out of it, right? And you can really see yourself push out of it because you're trying to compensate to clear that pelvis into the block and generate any possible energy based on your deficiencies. So a couple drills that you could do would be a quick play, a one knee down drop step, a one knee down slide step, a rotational step back, and jump backs. But also a really good drill that you could use is, I don't have a name for this, but you can set up split stance, and I want you to feel yourself rock back into your back leg, load it, and then fire it and let it pull your spine. And this will just help you feel that impulse. And you can take that impulse and pair it 1-to-1 with regular throws. So you go one constraint, one regular throw, and you just try to transfer all of those feels over. And you can also pair that with your other plyo or med ball drills. As far as everything goes for you though, this is the only thing that you should be looking at fixing for the next couple of months, right? This isn't something that's going to be okay, we fix it, I'm throwing harder, what are we doing next? It's like, no, this is such a big issue that when you have an issue that has so many repercussions up the chain like this, you have to consistently focus on it because your velo is going to break through, and then you're going to get used to this new velo, and your body is going to continuously shift around the new, better energy that you've produced. So you're going to have another jump. And if you shift too early while you're working on this, one, your body's going to revert, and two, you're never going to get the full gains of this spectrum, and you'll just be selling yourself a little bit short. So definitely focus on this for a long period of time. Let your block also build up the ability to block how it needs to, because that's also going to shift. And so you're going to have to get used to that as well. You're going to have to get used to a niche specific pelvic rotation. And then your spine is also going to need to adapt to the considerable amount of energy that it's now producing in comparison to its previous lower half impulses. So that's also going to take time. So your whole body is going to recompensate around this thing. If you need help with that, obviously come to us, but I'm just here to tell you right now, there's way more in your tank than you'd ever imagine.
Now that we talked about pitching mechanics, if you want to know the step-by-step plan on how to get to 95 miles an hour, then watch this video above and I'll see you there.